justifying why the Jaguars have had the Colts number in this series.
Fires deep downfield. Got a man. That's Brian Thomas Jr. 50 in the Colts territory. 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. just went 85 yards. How good is that? He gets hit. The ball comes out. The ball is out. The Jags are trying to pick it up. Josh Hines picks it up. He runs it back to the 10-yard line.
I think they need to go back and look at 5 or 6 clips of Fred Taylor running the ball for the Jaguars. Then go get 4 or 5 clips of Maurice Jones-Drew. And let's get fired up about running the ball.
They run it with Bigsby to the middle of the field. There's a big hole. Broke a tackle. Got it to the 10. He's still grinding. He's still on his feet. He's into the end zone. Touchdown. What a run by Tank Bigsby. And the Jags have extended the lead. They toss it to the left to Tank. He cuts it back to the middle of the field. That's good running. Tank Bigsby into the open field. 45, 40, 35, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Tank Bigsby has exploded for another score. 65 yards. How good is that? And the Jags extend the lead.
Hey, great job, man. Halftime. One more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
Oh, the problems aren't all fixed for the Jacksonville Jaguars just because they got a victory, but it's the NFL. You don't fix all the problems in a single week. You fix what is available for you to fix, and you find a way to win football games, and the Jags had not done that through the first 4 weeks. They get the win against the Colts. We're still celebrating. We'll turn our attention a little bit to what's going to be going on the next couple of weeks as we get into it today on Jaguars Today. Tony Smith here with you. You haven't heard Mike Dempsey's voice yet, but that's not because he's not here. He's just not here.
I'm here.
He is back at the casa for the show today with all of us doing what we need to do to prepare for what the next couple of days are going to be with mean old Milton out there preparing at least to wreak some havoc here on the Northeast Florida area. So how are things looking down there in St. Aug?
Wet. Look, my backyard floods anyway.
Yeah.
And it's probably already saturated at this point. I don't know what's going to happen with the next 2 days.
We've had plenty of rain, yeah.
Of nonstop rain coming down, but it's been coming down pretty steady all night, all morning, and that's where we're at. Hey, not what we didn't expect, right? We knew it was coming, and we're going to get it a lot less worse than a lot of people.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. We all know somebody who's being impacted more directly than we may necessarily being impacted. I have friends that are living down in Tampa. They're back up here now, right? You know, they came up a couple days ago. They got out, you know. So everyone probably has somebody they know that is in that situation or a similar one. Obviously, whatever can be done to help the people when this whole thing rolls through here in the next couple of days will be done. We'll see exactly what it's going to look like. We all know, you know, Helene did what it did. And now there are these communities that are going to have to deal with it again 3 weeks later. Like, it is madness, and we got them all in our thoughts, you know, that they get through it as well as they can possibly get through it, but there's no easy way through a storm like this. So hopefully everyone out there doing what they need to do to be safe as we get into it here for the next couple of days. Pockets, I got to do high school football last night.
Yeah,
Is Baldwin ever going to be playing high school football again?
We are trying to play Monday. Word on the street. Nothing official. So
that's the word on the street.
Yeah.
I take it Bulls won based on your sunny demeanor.
Bulls won last night 26-0, yes, over Andrew Jackson. So they get to 6-1 on the year, a couple more games to wrap up the regular season for the Bulldogs. But, yeah, they got the win last night over at Andrew Jackson. I forgot that Andrew Jackson was the only high school that didn't have the on-campus stadium. Like, I drove all the way out there to the school. I was like, oh, yeah, it's a block away.
Yeah,
like,
the swimming pool is not the football field.
Yeah, I forgot when I got there. I was like, oh, yeah, it's just down the road. I've done this game before. So went out there and did the game last night. Tuesday night football for the Bulldogs. They played 3 games in 8 days.
That is the kind of crazy part. But, hey. Player safety, and 3-0, and it looked like a bunch of really tired young men by the time they got to the end of that football game last night. But they do get the win. The Jags got the win on Sunday as well. Again, we're going to try to turn some of our attention forward
to what's going to be happening here for the next couple of weeks for the Jaguars. Our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today asking, what will the Jaguars' record be when they return from London? Your options in the poll, 3-4. 2-5, they beat the Bears. 2-5, they beat the Patriots. 1-6 for the football team coming back. I'm pleased to see at least not all of the optimism has been killed by 3 days of celebration, Demps. Early on in the poll, I'm pleased to see that at least now the 3-4 option is the one that's leading. It's the one I would expect to lead ultimately in this kind of poll, especially with how good the offense looked on Sunday against the Colts. But I was curious to see where some of this would land ultimately among the fan base.
Well, look, 90% of the people, if you look at the poll results, think that they will beat New England,
yes.
right? Over 90%. So it's just a question of, are you flipping the coin on this week? Tony, the most devastating thing, look, obviously the most devastating thing is you lose them both, right? And then you're wiped out, and then maybe you're
floating through the rest of the year,
And maybe you're following the New York Jets example at that point and changing the head man. I mean, it's possible. You know, I can't speak for Shad Khan on any front, certainly not that one. But could you imagine, the Bears are 3-2, and the Jags go in there and they get the W and you're feeling good about yourself, only to lose to the New England Patriots on the way out the door? I mean, oh my gosh, man. Look, and I get it. Drake May is going to get the start. I think he's a lot more talented than Jacoby Brissett. He's also hasn't played hardly any football at the NFL level. Right. And, so we'll see. That's a worry for down the line. But, yeah, you're right. 2/3 of the people voting so far think they're going to sweep the pair of London games.
With the Drake May thing, obviously the Patriots announced yesterday that he is going to start this week against Houston. It'll be his first start there for the New England Patriots. How much do you think it helps just to have a week of tape on him, that the game in London wouldn't be the first time anybody in the NFL actually got to see him go through the process of being a starting quarterback?
I guess it would help. I would rather, I think, do the alternate. I'd rather him be making his starting debut against the Jags. I don't think there are too many great secrets. I think you've seen him in the preseason. There's plenty of tape on him at college, what he's capable of doing, tape on what this offense has looked like and what the protection is like. I feel it's more an advantage for him to get a game under his belt than it would be for the Jaguars to have a game worth of film on him. That's my opinion on it anyway. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays. It might not matter, right? He could play great against Houston, and then the Jags knock him all around the place and crush him, or, it could be any combination of things, man. We've seen it happen too many times. It's sports. We got to worry about the other rookie. We got to worry about Caleb Williams this week, and a Bears team that believes that they're pretty good, and they're right there in the thick of it in the playoff race in the NFC.
I think you look at that Bears roster and you can see why they would believe they're pretty good, right? Like it's a roster that we've known. Carolina has basically just handed them, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity here for the last couple of years to build this thing up. And a Bears team that was actually an okay football team even last year is still able to be drafting where they've been drafting the last couple of years and continue to bring in this influx of talent at the beginning of these last couple of drafts. They were an interesting team going into the season. This was certainly, of the two London matchups, the Chicago one's the one that made me more nervous, and that was before we even saw Caleb play and have any success, which he has the last couple of weeks. But they're obviously a roster around Caleb that they feel built ready to win now if they need to. It's just a matter of, can the rookie quarterback not get in the way of any of the progress we feel like the Bears may have made on that roster, because they're pretty good up front on defense. The offensive line has been an issue for Chicago for a long time, so we'll see how much that rears its head up there. But skill position-wise, they're pretty good on the outside. Running back is what it is for the Chicago Bears, but they're certainly the more threatening of the two matchups there in London.
Yeah, look, I think DeAndre Swift is an all-right player.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, teams don't commit to him, and maybe there's something wrong with him. They see him, every day in practice and all that, and maybe it's a workload issue that they don't feel like he can consistently handle 20 touches a game, but he can on occasion, and, played pretty well last week. Really, it's one of those situations, like you're right, the trade with Carolina has upended the power structure between those teams entirely. If the Bears didn't have that deal in place, and they're picking, where did they get Odunze at? They had the 9th pick, I think, this year, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we're looking at J.J. McCarthy, and who knows? I know J.J. McCarthy got hurt, right? But in a different circumstance. Yeah. Maybe he doesn't get hurt. Maybe he's playing for the Chicago Bears, and maybe, he's just making his season debut, or maybe he's been playing all along and they're 1-4, and who knows? You know what I mean? But they get the guy who everyone pointed to as the best talent in this draft at the quarterback position. Jaden Daniels is having a lot to say about that, obviously, right now. But either way,
and
they had their choice
Moore.
between those guys.
Yeah,
and they got DJ Moore in the deal. Right. They wouldn't have DJ Moore. So they'd have like Keenan Allen. They wouldn't have Rome Odunze because they would have been drafted a quarterback at that spot. So you would have a rookie coming in and going, you got old Keenan Allen here and DeAndre Carter, and I'm sure they would have had a few other guys added along the way, right? But it would be a completely different looking team. But hey, they benefited from it, and it just goes to show you the value of trading down in the first round. Jags have finally, done it a couple of times in the last couple of years, and I've applauded those moves. But you and I, throughout the entire Dave Caldwell era, felt like there were so many times when the opportunity was there to move back and no, we're going to stick here and we believe one great player is better than two good players. Well, then pick a damn great player, would you?
Yeah.
Long
term, we were already seeing it 5 weeks into this thing. There's the potential for having traded down and still gotten Brian Thomas Jr. being maybe the most savvy thing the Jags have ever done in an NFL draft. Like, it would be in the same conversation as Fred Taylor. We'll see where this whole thing winds up with Brian Thomas Jr., but they haven't had a whole lot of those that you go back to. We do the offseason best draft moment shows, best draft picks in this situation, all that stuff that we do. Brian Thomas Jr., the early dividends on that are what they could potentially be for this football team. Doug Peterson going to step to the podium here in Jacksonville here in about 20 minutes. We'll get to as much of that as we can as we go throughout the show this morning. Want to look back on some of the comments he had from Monday as we continue to get ready. The Bears in London, that's what the first of the two matchups over there is going to be on Sunday over there. It's really unclear exactly what the travel plans are going to be for the Jaguars at this point, who's going to be where, when. Johnny O is going to join us in the studio in the second hour of the program, as he usually does here on a Wednesday on Jaguars Today. So we'll turn our attention a little bit towards Chicago as we get into the show today. We'll also take a look back at what Doug Peterson had to say on Monday at some of the key things coming out of that win for the Jacksonville Jaguars as they get their first victory of the season against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split, North Florida. It gets hot. You know that. Doesn't matter if it's raining outside, the humidity. You just need that air conditioning running well. And if it's not, you need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. Call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC. You've seen their trucks all over Jacksonville. I see them every day. They've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your air conditioning, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. They're locally family-owned and operated, servicing all of Northeast Florida, Jacksonville, Oakley, St. Augustine, Orange Park, the beaches, you name it. For quality care, call the hair. 4.8 average on Google reviews. Go to licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's go, guys.
We can't wait until kickoff, so we get game day started extra early with the Terminix Kickoff Show.
This is it. Day you've been waiting for.
Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. 5 hours before kickoff on 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. And if your dream is to create that space where you're living large in your backyard, then you need to get with the good people at CSS. They put a gas log in our fireplace, an awesome fire pit out back where the kids can toast s'mores and we can just hang out and watch the game. It's all part of your outdoor living experience with CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 2854-LAW. for Malcolm Anthony.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Attention veterans, the Fed has done it. They've lowered interest rates, the moment we've all been waiting for. And at Loan Pronto, they've lowered mortgage rates along with it. It's Prosser here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6%, Loan Pronto can do a streamlined refi, lowering your monthly payment with no income verification and no appraisal. Veterans can now access up to 100% of their home's equity and turn that into cash. You can get 50, 75, even 100 grand or more with no junk fees and no hassle with an APR in the low fives. So you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, and car loans. Veterans typically cut their monthly payments by $850. At Loan Pronto, they respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now for a free rate quote with no credit pull. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Sports talk sometimes gets confusing. I'm Hayes Carlyon, here to clean up the confusion. Join me afternoons on The Frangie Show for Cleaning Up with Hayes, brought to you by Molly Maid on 1010XL.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC, Zero Res.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4me.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark here with you. Jaguars Today. The Jags begin their first of back-to-back games in London this week. You know, last week I forgot there was a game in London. I mentioned it. We were in the room there getting ready for the show last week, and I was like, oh, TJ Hawkinson being activated in London. I was like, who's in London? Oh, Minnesota's in London. And the Jets, I totally forgot that was even a thing last week for the games to begin over there. But as we know, Demps, all these teams have different ways of trying to prepare, when to go, when do we stay, these kinds of things. The Jags have figured out whatever their process is going to be. They have to do it a little bit differently because they've been willing to do back-to-back weeks. In London this year, the second year in a row they've been doing that. Worked out pretty well against Buffalo in the side of those back-to-backs last year. We'll see what that looks like against New England next week. But Chicago, from what I understand, a couple of years ago, they had a London trip. They didn't like it when they went late in the week. They thought it affected them in a negative way to go late in the week. So Chicago's, from what I understand, already going, right? We'll see. The Jags are going to do what they typically do, trying to push it to a little bit later in the week so you don't have 2 or 3 days of that new body clock before you're playing that first game. Jacksonville obviously has the added idea of, well, we got to do it for 2 weeks. So it's a little bit different for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but Chicago trying to find hopefully some kind of rhythm for the way that it didn't work for them last year. I hope their new idea is just as bad.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I was actually listening to a national show, Tony, and they were remarking like, some teams are not going until the end of the week. And I'm like, tell me you don't pay attention to this without saying it, right? Like, I mean, if anything that the Jaguars have done over the last 10 years plus.
They've been the guinea pig, and they've been willing to be the guinea pig. Yeah.
If they should know anything, it's the logistics of making this trip and what benefits you in terms of getting ready to play on Sunday. And if you look at their record, it's a better one overall than it is here in the States in that time period. So, they have a formula. It works for them. They've been successful. I'm not saying you can't go early in the week and have success. We'll see how it all plays out. But, I mean, they've got a pretty good system. And, Doug Peterson did say, I believe on Monday, that, as of then, the plan is Thursday night is, still on the table. I mean, as long as everybody's hunkered down and the flight can get out on Thursday night, which, they've got a better understanding of that than we do, I'm sure, at this point in time. Hopefully everything goes off without a hitch, and it's a pretty uneventful trip. And then, again, I just wish these games were flipped back around.
Right.
Because I do believe that they can handle this New England Patriot team. Drake May, no Drake May. They're not a very explosive team whatsoever. And if you could get that one and be there and acclimated and have it under your belt and then have Chicago have to come in and go through the whole thing, I think it would help you a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a determining factor necessarily, but it could be an advantage here or there.
Yeah, Chicago was always the one of the two that made me more nervous because you can look at Chicago. I think I picked them to go to the playoffs this year when we did that preseason. I think Chicago's pretty good. It's just a matter of what's it going to look like for Caleb early on. Well, early on, you saw a lot of teams that were willing to play that bend but don't break thing against this Bears team. Again, they got a lot of talent. Keenan Allen didn't come into it until, a few weeks into the process there with Caleb. But then you got him in red zone, and you could confuse him because now you can flood all the coverage areas. And he's like, well, what do I do with this? There's 8 guys, 9 guys covering. Like, nobody's blitzing him because they all want eyes on him because he's athletic enough to hurt you with his legs. And he really struggled in that part of the field. Well, the last couple weeks, teams have blitzed him a little bit more. And against Carolina, it would make sense because Carolina was down, throughout the entire game. So they had to make something happen on defense. But that's dangerous against rookie quarterbacks. When you give them man looks, that's when they get dangerous in my mind. But zone, you can really confuse young guys. So I think maybe the Jags playing a little bit more zone the last couple weeks this week may help slightly, but it still makes me nervous given how bad the coverage has been. But they might be getting help soon with the Jacksonville Jaguars announcing that the 21-day practice window has been open for Tyson Campbell. So it sounds like he is going to be heading over there and at least going to have the window open. We'll see if he's going to be available this week, next week, when that'll be. But they're at least taking steps, getting closer to Tyson Campbell getting back on the field for the team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want him back as soon as he's able to go, but you want him to be able to go 100%, right? I mean, they could absolutely use him this week with the guys that they have on the outside here. I mean, I don't know who matches up well with DJ Moore among the remaining players on this roster, and Keenan Allen, Tony, was only a year removed from arguably the best season of his career prior to getting injured. Now, he's an injury-prone guy at this stage of his career, but he's healthy at the moment. He just, I don't know. I don't know if he's kind of hit the wall or if it's just, new circumstance, rookie quarterback. You come in, you're not the top of the food chain among pass catchers, all these different things combining. He gets banged up a little bit. All those things probably have factored into just kind of a mediocre start for him. But just to get back to your point on Caleb Williams, I think the thing that works for him is the thing that can also work in favor of the Jaguars is that he thinks a play is never over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's young
That's
enough to.
the truth, yeah.
Right? And we saw it in college over and over. Extending plays, a lot of his highlight plays came when he just kind of ran around a little bit, guys broke open, and he made a big throw late in the process. And you do that enough in the NFL, it's going to come back to get you. But at the same time, he's got some special ability to extend that play. So, the Jags have been close. Like, you go back to the Houston game, they had their hands on C.J. Stroud numerous times and couldn't bring him down. You better get Caleb Williams on the ground when you've got those opportunities, because if he does break out, he does have maybe not Houston's group of pass catchers, but a pretty good one. Right. And, when things get kind of in that helter-skelter mode, that's when sometimes you give up big plays.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't pay enough attention to betting to know if they have these kind of prop bets available for a game like this. But if they had a prop bet for will there be a Jacksonville Jaguars sack that results in a loss of more than 15 yards, this isn't a bad week to place that kind of bet because of the way Caleb plays. And the Jags do have two guys on the outside that can at least pressure the pocket. And if you're going to get that kind of play, it's generally going to be from somebody on the outside chasing him out to the other guy, on the other side. That's how those kind of plays happen. And Caleb is certainly willing to open the door, those kind of opportunities. Now, sometimes he opens that door and then slams it in your face. And when he throws it, you're like, how did he do what now? Right? Because he still does have that arm talent. It shows up. I'm looking forward to watching him for a whole game on Sunday. I can tell you that. Like, just as a football fan, I'm looking forward to watching Caleb play a whole game. I hope he gets his brains beat out, but I'm looking forward to watching him play a whole game on Sunday for this Bears offense, because it has – I even feel like it felt different this week watching what they were doing against Carolina than it did week one when I got to see him in primetime. I watched that whole game and was like, man, he's...
Well, week one, they won in such a fluky fashion, right? Defense and special teams, and it was like they won in spite of Caleb Williams week one, I think. But that's okay. And that's kind of the thing. If you looked at that and the Bears, they win that game, I'm sure there were some Bear fans, most of them probably just ecstatic, right? The rookie makes his debut, they find a way to win. But I'm sure there were those who were calling Chicago sports radio going, oh, well, sure they won, but you don't think they can get away with this against this, and this? No, I don't necessarily. But that doesn't mean you have to continually play like that, and he has gotten better just in the span of a month. So you expect that kind of improvement. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence turned the page himself on his season. And, it's not like we don't think Trevor has shown what he showed on Sunday, but he hasn't shown it this season, not to that level. So hopefully they continue to get some protection for him. And he does the same thing. You look back and say, well, you're not going to be able to get away with this, and this. You're not always going to play this opponent. Well, okay, you're right. But for that day, you put up more points than the other guy. Figure out the game plan for next week, even if you have to win ugly or in a completely different fashion. This team, obviously, desperate to just stack up a couple of wins. But I do think, Tone, they do have an opportunity to go in there and get a pair in London. You got to focus on the first one. But, I think, again, if they get that first one, everyone's going to expect them to come back at 3-4. And right now, nearly 7 out of 10 believe they're going to get both of them in London, at least with today's question of the day poll.
Yeah. And look, I'm more on that side of it than I am anything else. Like, if I had to guess, I'd probably go that way with it too. That they get wins against both of these. But I think the Chicago game is a tough game. I really do. I think it's a much tougher game, obviously, than New England, as we've discussed throughout the show already this morning. But I think Chicago is a really tough team. And they're hard to say exactly what they are in a lot of areas. And I think Jacksonville has a little bit of that to them too. The offensive line has played well enough in the last couple weeks for the Jags that if they get that kind of performance from the offensive line against Chicago, I think they win. on Sunday. I certainly think they can beat New England if they get that kind of thing. But because of the way that it went up and down, right, in those first 3 weeks of the season, it's like, well, it's been nice that it's been good the last 2 weeks. Can we get 3 weeks in a row of the offensive line playing at that level? You know, it's not like that was the expectation when you were 2 weeks in. It was like, are they ever going to play at that level? Well, now you've gotten it for a couple of weeks. We'll see what they do to stack it up. It's a different situation because you are going to London. Whatever, it has some impact on something. I don't know exactly what impact it has, but it has some impact on something for a bunch of guys that we know this. NFL players are creatures of habit. It's why the Jags having a plan for how to do the London thing every year helps everybody, that they're not uncomfortable doing it. Chicago having to change things up makes it feel like they might be a little bit uncomfortable having to do it. So hopefully that has some kind of impact on the game. But at least from a Jaguars side of it, they should be more comfortable with the process of playing in London. That doesn't make it a comfortable process to play in London, right, when you do it every year. But the Jags will be as well adjusted to doing it as any team could possibly be in the NFL. And
right, there's an edge to be had.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are going to have it.
Right. So we'll see if they're able to take advantage of that this week. We'll have Johnny O for the second hour of the program. Hear a little bit from Doug Peterson next as well. Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark here with you as we continue along. It's a Wednesday edition of Jaguars Today here on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, gang, Prosser here to save you some cash. Maximize your home sale now with the market experts who deliver more money in less time, and those experts are Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. You don't have to worry. The worries are relieved with Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Mortgage rates are down. It's time to create your market. Marvin in Cobblestone writes, my siblings and I moved our parents to Maryland so they can get some extra help as they get older. Next, we had to sell the home to get them some financial help for their extra care. We hired Chad and Sandy, and they delivered big. Chad and Sandy's team got our home sold in 7 days above asking price. You can too. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
On Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
This is Keith Scott with Veterans Wholesale Cabinets. We are Northeast Florida's cabinet experts and your best option to elevate your home improvement project for both homeowners and contractors, and attention to detail to every project. VeteransWholesaleCabinets.com.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Every Monday,
David Garrard
calls the signals and looks for you on Jaguars Today from 10 to noon.
Look past left prong. Oh, we're ready.
Brought to you by WaterboyJacks.com.
Duval.
On 1010XL.
Googie Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Greenlaw Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Greenlaw Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Greenlaw Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Greenlaw Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
Small business, big target. DoubleCheck provides AI-powered cybersecurity solutions to small businesses so you can keep your eye on the ball. Book your free consultation this month for 10% off your first 6 months. Visit doublecheck.com today.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
This election, if you want someone who will take care of the messes, someone who isn't afraid to get dirty and work in the trenches, someone who will pump out the problems and prevent future ones, vote for the Duck.
Need your septic tank serviced? Call DuckDuckRooter, your 5-star Google-rated septic company. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com.
I approve this message.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Big-time players make big-time plays in big games. That's how Jag head coach Doug Peterson views those players that stepped up to get the win over the Colts.
Our best players, the elite who stepped up, crucial moments, and made the plays that helped us win that football game.
The day after the victory, the Jag head coach was still impressed with running back Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive. He's aggressive, physical, kind of a one-cut guy.
He went over the Colts, and his performance was a confidence builder for Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
It's always good to use these games to build confidence. I thought it was good for us to continue to deal with the adversity and to find a way to finish when things didn't go perfect.
At your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguar Update, I'm Sam Nelson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark here with you. We had the news in the last segment that the Jags have opened up the 21-day practice window for Tyson Campbell. We'll see when they're able to get him back on the field. We got more breaking news during the break here. This one not directly related to Jacksonville, but it's close enough. Houston is placing wide receiver Nico Collins on IR, had the hamstring injury on Sunday, so he will miss at least the next 4 weeks for the Houston Texans. As of this moment, Nico Collins is the NFL's leading wide receiver, so the Texans will be without him for at least the next month. That will be matchups at New England. We've talked plenty about New England and what kind of matchup that is today. And the premiere of Drake May at Green Bay next week versus Indianapolis, and then at New York. Those are the next 4 games. Then we'll see where Nico will be at At that point in time, Dempsey and I are paying close attention because of breakfast bowl things when we'll have the opportunity to get Nico Collins back at some point since we haven't used him yet in that competition. But Nico Collins at least going to miss the next month, Mike, with the hamstring injury.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at that schedule, Tony, I think they can still go 3-1. I mean, they've been playing without Joe Mixon. And they have. Who knows? That injury, by the way, is weird because he got in the practice field for a limited practice like 2 Fridays ago.
Yeah.
And looked like, okay, well then surely last week that'll mean he'll be limited early in the week and he'll ramp up as the week goes on. He never got on the practice field, so I don't know if he aggravated anything, but they've been playing without really their top 2 tailbacks, depending on how you feel about Dameon Pierce compared to Cam Akers, but 2/3 of their backfield and the primary piece in Joe Mixon. They've been without Tank Dell. They got him back. So, one guy, and it's not like Nico Collins isn't a big loss. He's leading the NFL in receiving. He's doing all kinds of things this year in a big way, an explosive offense. But you look at it, the Patriots, the Colts at home, and granted, they only beat the Colts by 2 in the opener, so that could go either way. And then they play at the Jets. I think those are all winnable games. At Green Bay is going to be tough if they have Nico Collins or not for this team. So it's a shame, but from our perspective, but Houston is taking care of business in low-scoring games. They've won by 2. They've won by 6. They won by 4 against Jacksonville, and they won by 3 against the Bills. Maybe they're this year's version of the Minnesota Vikings. That's what everybody was saying, right? But then look at Minnesota is off to a 5-0 start. Yeah. You can't win all these close games and expect that to hold up. But, they've won them, and once you put them in the bank, nobody can take those W's away from you.
No, and look, we've all been watching the NFL long enough to know that there are these teams that, especially early on in seasons like this, Houston is dealing with the expectations. They're a division champion last year because of the way the season ended for the Jacksonville Jaguars in large part. But a division champion last year, they're trying to stack that up. They've been one of the darlings of the league throughout the entire offseason. All the talk about C.J. Stroud, all these different things that have been going on. For a team like that, we saw them a couple weeks ago against Jacksonville. They don't look like a world beater team, but they're a team that is well put together enough right now and coached well enough right now that in these crucial situations in games, they're finding ways, right? And for a team that is still really young, doing that kind of thing at really critical positions, that they're finding ways to win 4 out of 5 games here early in the season. I'm with a lot of people that are saying, I don't see how Houston's going to win more than 9 or 10 games. I get it. I can understand why you would see this team and say, I don't see how they're going to win more than 9 or 10 games, but I'm pretty sure they're going to win 9 or 10, right? Like they feel like a team that feels inevitable to me with the Houston Texans at this point. It's when they figure some of these other things out and some of these young things turn into much more mature things, it does feel like they are potentially a threatening team in the AFC in a conference that's been, Kansas City hadn't been fantastic every week. Mahomes just finds a way.
Their defense has been really good.
They've been really good on that side of the ball, for sure. But it's not like there's this power at the top of the AFC right now that everyone's like, I don't know what we're going to do to have to deal with them. Baltimore felt like that team last year, and Kansas City found a way to deal with them in the end when they got to the AFC Championship game. Houston feels like a team that I don't think they're off that path with what we've seen through the first 5 weeks of the year.
Well, look, 2 weeks ago, everyone was saying, Buffalo might be the best team in the league. Josh Allen's the leading MVP candidate, and then they've stunk for 2 weeks in a row. And so you give them credit, Houston, for beating Buffalo, but we talked about it yesterday, the mind-blowing aspect of that game late when Buffalo's inside their own 5-yard line, and they're throwing deep, and they're just throw 3 incompletions.
Yeah.
Instead of just burning some clock, forcing the Texans to use their timeouts, and knowing you're backed up, you might hit that 3% play down the field, but even if you do, you're still not in field goal range necessarily. You're still not necessarily going to win this thing in regulation. Sometimes it's okay to play for overtime, and they didn't play very good situational football, and, to Houston's benefit. Jags had their opportunities.
For sure.
Let them off the hook. They got the Bears in week 2. When we talked about Chicago, the first couple weeks wasn't quite the same team that they're rounding into form to be right now. And they got off the hook with the Colts in week 1 by 2 points. So, that's a team that, as much as we say the Jags could be 4-1, that team could be 0-5.
They could be.
Honestly. I mean, they really could. They got blown out by the Vikings in their other one. They've got offensive line protection issues. They've obviously had a lot of injury issues, but they've overcome them, and they feel great about themselves because even with a big injury to Nico Collins, they sit there among the best teams in the AFC.
Doug Peterson speaking right now to the media, and we've been talking about Tyson Campbell, the practice window being open. He was asked about that, when potentially we could see him back on the field. He said likely the Patriots would be the earliest that they would get him, so don't expect to see Tyson Campbell this week against the Chicago Bears, but at least the chance to play in the second of those games over in London. We'll see if he's able to get back on the field then. One of the guys that we're really hoping that they can get back on the field now, he's been out for a while now, Evan Ingram at tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Peterson was asked about Evan on Monday. We've heard this for the last couple of weeks, so we'll see if it actually pays off here going into this weekend's game. But Coach was asked about the chances that they get Evan Ingram back this week against Chicago.
Good. I think he was really close last week. He got himself back into practice a little bit. I would anticipate him doing more this week and seeing where he's at the end of the week. But I think the chances of him getting back in here this week are pretty good.
What is the impact, you think, on the offense if they just get Evan back on the field? Strange has been good, right, in these last couple of weeks. He's not Evan Ingram, and you're not going to ask those guys to do the same kind of things, but what is the impact of getting Evan back in the offense?
I look at it not necessarily as replacing Strange on the field, as how many reps are you going to replace Gabe Davis on the field?
That's the way it feels, yeah.
Right, and let Brenton Strange do his thing, because Brenton Strange is not necessarily a tell. When he's on the field, you can use him as a receiver, you throw the football, and he's obviously very critical to the running game. You hear Jeff Logman rave about him maybe being the best blocker on the team regardless of position. So, look, Gabe Davis is, for whatever reason, not syncing up with Trevor Lawrence right now. I'm not saying Trevor's been perfect getting him the ball, but Gabe's had his drops. He had the fumble this week. I hope he has a productive rest of the season, but for the moment, Brian Thomas Jr. is starring. Christian Kirk, the last 3 games, has settled back into what we expected him to be, Tone. And Brenton Strange has been pretty good, and he does give you that run-pass option. So if you can add Evan Ingram, you can line him up pretty much anywhere you like in the formation. He can split out, but he can certainly play in the slot. He doesn't have to be attached to the offensive line. And so that, to me, I'm sure there will be times when it's Gabe Davis instead of Brenton Strange, but I think you're going to see more, as we talked about yesterday, 2 tight end sets, and take advantage of the guys that are playing well right now. And that's presuming Evan Ingram comes back and plays well. He may, if he's back, is he going to play his normal rep share? You know what I mean? Like, do they have a package of plays? Is he a 15 or 20 snap guy? It's hard to know. But I think once they get fully up to speed with him, provided they don't have any setbacks with anybody else injury-wise, I think you're going to see him start to take a few snaps away from Gabe Davis.
It is crazy how thin the margins are in the NFL, right? Like, we just went through the whole early season run for Houston. They found a way to win 4 or 5 of those games, right? Like, they found a way. Jacksonville has found a way to lose 4 of the first 5 of their games. And talking specifically about Gabe Davis here, Gabe Davis holds on to that ball on 3rd and goal 2 weeks ago in Houston. And the whole conversation about Gabe is completely different, but he didn't.
Right?
Like, it doesn't matter coulda, woulda, shoulda. None of that matters. These players get put in opportunities to make plays. Gabe has had one of the biggest opportunities of the season here early on for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they win that game if he holds on to that ball on 3rd and goal.
Absolutely.
And instead, we'd be looking at, can they get back to 4-3 coming back from London? And even that is radically different than 3-4. They need to be at 3-4 coming back from London at this point in time. But 4-3, it'd be like, now everyone may have to watch out for us a little bit. We're getting on a heater.
You'd be 2-0 in the division. You'd be only a game out.
And
right?
having won 4 in a row if you pulled off both those in London,
if you pull off both of those in London. But even just where they'd sit right now, you'd feel so much better about. Then maybe you would fire your coach like the Jets did because they were 2-3 and within a game lead of the division. But in all seriousness, look, but it's not. We're not trying to pick on Gabe Davis, right? He's one of many examples of, in those losses, 3 out of the 4, the Buffalo game, you weren't going to win, no matter what you did that day. They had your number, and I'm not saying that is an excuse or acceptable, but it didn't come down to one or two plays. All those other games, you can point to one or two plays. Gabe Davis didn't make them. Dearness Johnson had the big penalty. Travis Etienne had the big fumble. And those are just the most glaring examples, but there were others along the way. And, when it comes down to crunch time, you got to make the plays, like you said, Tony. I mean, Gabe Davis could have caught every ball thrown his way up to that point, but if you drop the critical one in the biggest moment, you're going to get dinged for it.
Yeah, everything is colored by the drop on 3rd and goal, which hangs in everyone's head, and then the next week, whatever the confrontation was with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, I'm generally on that side. It's like players get into each other's face, whatever, right? Like, that doesn't bother me at all, but the next rep that Gabe has where he touches the ball, he makes a pretty good catch and then fumbles, right? And so everyone's going to hold on to those two moments. He dropped the 3rd and goal, he yelled at the quarterback, and then he fumbled the ball. That's what everyone's holding on to as their entire, whatever they think of Gabe Davis, everything else is colored by those 3 moments for him to this point in his Jacksonville career.
He doesn't have any equity built up.
No.
I mean, look, and I heard Logs yesterday, he's a really good guy and a hard worker. I don't doubt any of that.
No.
Right?
And he's going to be put in some crucial opportunity, and it may happen this week again. He needs to come through in one of those moments, and everyone can go, okay, he's fine. But they need an okay, he's fine moment.
They're not paying him all those millions of dollars to be a good guy. They're paying him to play well and just be the guy you were in Buffalo. And look, I'm not saying that that's all on Gabe. This offense hasn't been as functional as we'd like it to be, and it's starting to round into form now. Maybe if they start to get protection, everyone's going to step up their level of play. I mean, we're certainly seeing it with Brian Thomas and Christian Kirk, and I wouldn't write Gabe Davis off after 5 games, but I don't blame the fans that focus on the miscues because there haven't been the big plays to offset that.
No doubt. Doug Peterson speaking to the media right now. We'll keep our eyes on that to see if anything else comes down, injury reports, that kind of thing, as they get ready for the trip to London. We'll hear from Doug again on Friday, but that'll be for all the game day prep stuff for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if Doug lets anything go here in the next couple minutes, we'll let you know before we get done with the program here this morning. Johnny O will join us in studio for the next hour of the show as he does each Wednesday. So we'll get into it a little bit with the Ozone. The Jags get their first win of the year against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. We're going to try to all sit in the same places. Maybe not have exactly the same conversations about locker room. Has he lost the locker room? That was the conversation a lot last Wednesday as that story broke that morning with the conversations about the locker room being done with Doug Peterson. So maybe not so much into that, but actually something positive to talk about with the Jacksonville Jaguars as they get ready for the Bears coming up this weekend. Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Every special teams player waits for his number to be called.
We got this.
After the game, we call the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Game ball, baby.
On 1010XL.
Good job, team.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle. Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
If you're getting married or want to upgrade your bands, now is the time at Beard's Diamonds.
Because it's Beard's Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one on wedding band sale.
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Former Gator and Jaguars linebacker Mike Peterson and Mandarin standout and Gator cornerback Fred Weary will be inducted into the Florida-Georgia Hall of Fame. For tickets to the celebration lunch Friday, November 1st, go to GAFLJax.com.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Hicken here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade, the studied, tested, and proven fuel of the world's greatest athletes. Gatorade Water, proudly supporting high school sports on the First Coast.
How long would it take to spend the night in every hotel room in Vegas? The answer next.
With hurricane season now here, the only weather you need to be concerned about is whether your homeowner's insurance policy will cover you in the event of storm damage. Ask about Southern Oak Insurance today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
It would take more than 400 years to spend the night in every hotel room in Vegas.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a gravy taster from Jacksonville, Florida, me, Dennis Mosley.
Hi, Ken.
Okay, Dennis. 100 plumbers surveyed, top answer on the board. What does it mean if someone says your home has hard water?
It's made of ice? Let's see. Hard water. Oh, is it club soda mixed 4-to-1 with vodka?
Last chance, Dennis. What is hard water?
Oh, is it that lime scale stuff that makes my taps all crusty?
That's right, Dennis. And a water treatment system from Bueller Air and Plumbing will eliminate troublesome lime scale deposits that can ruin your expensive appliances and let your neighbors know for sure that you are cool.
I wonder if I can get me a gin and tonic faucet.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Hicken here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Come try free access to your local Y every Wellness Wednesday this month. Check out our fitness classes, swimming, pickleball, youth sports, and so much more for free every Wednesday in October. Plus, we'll waive the join fee when you become a member this month. Get active, be social, live healthier, and discover all the benefits of YMCA membership at your local Y or visit fcymca.org.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at mackenziesrun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. mackenziesrun.org.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Kuhn Flowers. On Tuesday morning, news broke that Georgia wide receiver Kobe Young had been arrested on charges of assault and battery, according to the Athens Clark County jail log. Georgia Bulldogs head coach Kirby Smart didn't have much to say during his press conference.
I don't know about Kobe and want to ask about it, but it's a pending legal matter.
When Florida faces the Tennessee Vols, their offense will be led by quarterback Nico Ava, who is very impressive, according to Gator head coach Billy Napier.
This guy's 6'6", big, athletic. I mean, he's ripping, got big-time arm.
With the performance of Brock Glenn in his first start of the season at QB for the Noles, head coach Mike Norvell was asked if he considered putting him in earlier this season.
There was definitely thought of it. Everything we do is we're trying to make the best decisions.
That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:58, it's 78 degrees. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oehser. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
Oh, we got the senior writer, Johnny O, joining us in studio. Mike Dempsey on location.
Home studio.
from St. Augustine. Dylan Denmark, Tony Smith here with you as we all hunker down a little bit for the storm coming into the area. Milton, stay away from us as much as you can, but someone's going to have big impact here over the next couple of days, and we'll see exactly what that's going to look like with Milton coming in, still a few hours away from making landfall down there. And between Tampa and Sarasota, it looks like somewhere between there it's going to wind up landing, and we'll see what the aftermath of that is going to be. I know, I know some people that are already lined up as volunteers to head down whenever the call comes to get down there and help the people out there who are going to need it. We know there's going to be
it's going to be
a lot of people who will, here over the next few days. So we'll see what that looks like. We have happy news, John. We haven't had a lot of happy news when we've had you in to this point this year.
No.
But we got some positive things to talk about. The Jags found a way to win a football game on Sunday.
Yeah, and you sure wish that this stuff wasn't going on because it sort of does distract a little bit of focus for people talking about it. I don't expect the players or the coaches to be that distracted by it. But yeah, I mean, it was. I thought what they needed, if they were going to get a win, it was a good way to do it. They had chances to close it out and did offensively. And I thought for Trevor Lawrence, some really key things in terms of not only hitting the deep ball, but I thought at the end of the game, handling the 2-minute with poise. It wasn't like the greatest 2-minute drive in NFL history, but at that moment, for the offense to come down, for him to handle it well, I feel like that's a step in the right direction where they've been talking for 10 weeks about we got to make a play at a key time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they did at the end of that game to win the game. So good on them. They got to keep it going.
Given everything we saw Trevor do in the back half of 2022, right? When they made that run, they had the multiple 17-point comes back. They did what the Colts almost did to the Jaguars on Sunday 3-4 times, including the playoff game, right? The back half of that season. They found ways to win games where they were down big. A lot of people would have assumed this one's done, right? The other team makes one more play. We know it's done, but they were able to come back, and a lot of that was on Trevor making big plays down the stretch in the season. I know a lot of people have talked about Sunday for Trevor against the Colts being his best game as a pro, and maybe he gets thrown into that ring because it did feel like it was that kind of performance from beginning to end for Trevor Lawrence, so it more fits.
Yeah.
That kind of thing for him. But do you have the same feeling coming out of it that it was his best game as a pro?
It's been the best game in a while, so you're not trying to make light of it, but it had been so long since anything good had happened. Probably his best game since. Yeah, I mean, I thought he played really well for a couple of games stretch against Tennessee last year here.
Houston, that game there was
Houston
really
over
good.
there.
Yeah.
And don't forget, he played really well against Cincinnati till he got hurt. And they didn't win that game, but so I think this is getting back. If you had put this game into that stretch last year, I don't know that we'd be sitting there going, wow, this is the best game he ever had. It would be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, for to hit the big passes for when he needed it, for when it happened, for all the noise. I don't mind saying it's his best game. I mean, nothing sticks out where I'm like, no, that was clearly better than X.
Yeah, we were just talking about Gabe Davis, and it's just there's been no positive plays for him, basically, since he joined this team, and he's had
small ones, but not what you thought, right?
3 or 4 opportunities where it's gone the other way, and I do think that's it's related to the Trevor conversation we're having. I think it's easy to forget because of the way the last 2.5 months of football for him have gone on field. that he was good enough in the back half of 2022 to get an MVP vote, right? Like he played well enough to be considered in that kind of range among the guys that are covering the league week to week. So the last 10 weeks have been what the last 10 weeks have been, and we've talked about it. He's got to be better. He knows he has to be better. He was really, really good on Sunday, and if he had been a yard more accurate on any of three plays, the week before against Houston, we'd still be having the conversation about, well, he's got to hit this play when he's got the chance, but we wouldn't be talking about it like, what is happening with Trevor Lawrence? He needed one more of those this week. Every opportunity like that opened, he hit all day long.
Yeah, it's so easy in the NFL because it's so week to week, and then you talk about every game so much, and then I thought injuries were clearly a problem at the end of last year. At the beginning of this year, maybe some of it was coming back, getting used to Brian Thomas Jr., although he's played well, still getting used to some pieces around him, offensive line, getting in gear. To your point at the very start of that topic, the reason they paid him and the reason that it was silly to write him off is you had seen you could win with the guy. It wasn't like he had never done it. So he hit passes at the end of 22. It started 23. They were 13-3 with him. So you knew it was there. It was just very fair to wonder where it was. And in this day and age, you're going to sort of jump to conclusions. Well, he's terrible. Well, get rid of him. Well, it was a huge mistake. He's still a player who, even in year 4, fans may get frustrated with this, but there's still no reason that he can't continue developing, can't continue ascending. I don't think for a minute that he's a finished product.
There are things that are obviously evolving on the offensive side of the ball as we go here. We'll see if Gabe can find he's going to have opportunities going forward. It's going to be, does he take advantage of them?
Yeah.
And to this point in the year, just hasn't been able to. We now see that last year when they drafted Tank Bigsby, there was a lot of talk going through that offseason that they're trying to make it a two-man backfield. And Tank was struggling all over the place. It felt like every time he touched the ball, bad things happened. And so at some point, you lose the confidence of everybody. We'll turn our attention to year 2. And you had a lot of the same kind of conversations this offseason about Tank and how good he had looked and all these different things. Well, now he has created a legit, they have to make a decision, drive to drive, series to series. Who's the guy we want to give the ball to right now? Like, that's how well Tank Bigsby is playing right now for the football team. And all those issues have, for the most part, disappeared. He did fumble on the goal line, but he was able to recover it on Sunday against Indianapolis. How do you think they view the backfield right now between ETN and Tank Bigsby?
There's going to be a clamoring, understandably, to get Tank the ball more because he's averaging so many a carry. I think they view it as this is sort of how they like it, meaning I don't necessarily think that you want to up – they may not want to up Tank's carries to 30 a game. I think they like him being really, really effective when he's carrying the ball. Now, I said at the very beginning of the season, I think it'll be a week-to-week priority and effort and issue for them to try to figure out how to balance that. I don't think you want to take Travis Etienne off the field because he gives you a lot in the passing game. He has clearly, I thought the other day, them getting him the ball, getting him going, got the offense going a little bit, got him a couple of first downs early, made them feel good about it. So I kind of think they'll continue to have this balance. Doug Peterson has said before about the running game that the run-pass balance, which everybody loves to talk about, is not really as important to him as it being effective when they use it. And I hope I'm getting this the right way. So I think a little bit of that could apply to Tank of, look, we don't necessarily – it might be better for him to be averaging 8 yards a carry on 13 than 4 yards a carry on 25, if that makes sense, in terms of how they want to balance the offense. I'm not sure I said that well, but I think it's going to be a balanced thing where you try to make sure that Tank's carries are as effective as they can be.
What has clicked in on the offensive line the last 2 weeks? We know all the struggles they had the first 3. The offensive tackles being the premier spots where we're like, what's going on with Cam and especially Anton? But it does feel like they have gotten better
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks, and as a result, the offensive line has given them a chance to win. They had a real chance to win in Houston. Obviously, they got it done against Indianapolis. What changed that it puts them in a better position right now?
Well, we, and I fall victim to it just as much as anybody, so I'm not criticizing the fans or other observers. You want things as soon as they're together and out there, you want rookies to be good week one. You want the offensive line to be great week one just because all these guys have played in the NFL. They had never played together before week one. Mitch Morse during training camp a couple of times had very extensive conversations with media about, look, because of the way you practice in the NFL these days, it's really hard for the offensive line to have continuity right out of the gate. And that when people read that, they're making an excuse. Well, Doug Peterson has said multiple times, and the offensive line has too, they have continuity now. I think the most that they played together last year as a group was four straight games. I think at the start of the regular season when Ben Barch was involved, I think it was 4 straight games, maybe been 3. But they played 5 straight now. So I think continuity has a lot to do with it, and they've got it. They have experienced guys. Anton Harrison's in his second year. Everybody else is, year 5 or 6? So it's an experienced group that's playing better. Now, I think it's going to be perfect, but we're talking about it at the top of the show, so I think you're feeling it too. If they can get going, if they can get the next 2 or, get to 3 and 4 and get in it, this might be a strength of the team that it might be something you can rely on. It's played the last couple of weeks like that. It's way too early to say that. But if it is, then you might be able to string something together.
Well, I think it's a team we knew, or we all had an idea of where we thought the struggles might be for the offensive line, and it was, they fixed the issues of the last couple of years on short yardage, right?
Haven't quite done that yet.
Right, and I think that question is still very much an open question, but they're doing a better job in virtually every other area. The last couple of weeks, they're giving Trevor opportunities to win and the run game opportunities to win. Now, like I said, I don't think they've answered the bell on the short yardage stuff yet, because if they had, they would have won in Houston.
Right.
Like, they don't have 2nd and goal from the 1 and not get in and feel like, okay, that's answered. That's obviously unanswered still to this point. And that's the most crucial of those situations they've faced to this point this year.
We'll have one in Miami too. They probably should have converted late. Just couldn't get it going. I don't know that this line, kind of talking out both sides of my mouth, and I'm not trying to. I don't know that this line is going to be a turnaround and hand it to the running back 5 straight times and grind down the 4-minute situation.
They didn't even try to do that Sunday.
Yeah, and I don't know that in talking to Doug Peterson about offensive line play over the years, I don't know that he believes it has to be that. It's nice if it's that, but you can use the you can use the passing game in part of it. It's sort of what I was talking about earlier. They want to use the running game as part of it. I don't think that they envision this offense being that. You can use the passing game as part of it, as part of the running game. So I don't want to say this offensive line has peaked, but I think the last couple of weeks are how they can play offensive line effectively. If they could add that, hey, we're going to grind it out and just push you off the ball element to it, it'd be great. I don't know that that's what this line's going to be, even when it's effective.
I don't think it's built to be that.
Yeah, but
you got to find a way to get a yard when you need a yard. Yeah.
If you're playing effectively in other areas, I think the belief is you can work around not necessarily being the Philly special, not the Philly special, but the tush-push offensive line.
Right. They snuck it a couple times on Sunday, and you may see some more of that in those kind of situations with Trevor. And look, I've said it the last couple days on the show, and I felt it when I was watching it. I know a lot of fans complaining about that end-game situation when they had the 3 and out and then allowed the touchdown right to the Colts on the next drive, and we can get into the issues in the secondary for this football team as we continue through the hour here, John. But I felt like Trevor was the thing that was working. Right. So at that point, them saying we're gonna put the game on Trevor, and I thought he made
how much time was left there? Like 250,
something like that.
330.
Yeah. And he made
it
two
was sort
really
of
good
like
passes
the same
on second and third
situation
down. Yeah.
as in Houston. He got a lot of criticism. Oh, run the ball there. I don't know that the feeling among the coaches, and even when you watch it, do you get the? I'll ask you. Do you get the idea that they're hey, we're going to run 8 times from 350 on down in the game?
Not at all.
And be able to grind the clock.
Not
and
at all.
in this day and age, if you give a team the ball back with 2:30 left, you haven't iced the game.
Yeah.
You're almost giving the ball back in a normal situation, right? They're not even if you give them the ball back with 2:30 or like the week before, I think they were. I tried to do the math. There was a good possibility had they run a couple of times, you're giving Houston the ball back with about 2:10 left and no timeouts, needing a field goal to tie. In the NFL these days, that's barely hurry up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm exaggerating that a little bit, but you're supposed to go get a field goal if you get the ball back at that kind of time. So I think Doug has felt in both situations like they were one possession away or one probably a minute or two out from being able to grind out the clock.
We'll take a look at around the news from around the National Football League. We already mentioned Houston wide receiver Nico Collins heading to IR, so he'll miss at least the next 4 weeks there in Houston. We'll get to all the other news from around the league as well. Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, and John Oehser here with you. It's Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. You got a lot of things to take care of perhaps in the next 24 hours or so as you're driving around. Don't worry about a big sit-down meal. Just swing into your area gate station. Maybe you're going to grab some ice. Maybe you're going to get some gas. But definitely head to the Fresh Case and check out what Dandy and the Anytime Deli labels are offering up. And I tell you what, they're offering up an abundance of great options. The Thompson family created Dandy here in Jacksonville nearly 70 years ago, and they continue to thrive to this day because they don't settle for just good enough. The highest quality ingredients, locally sourced as often as possible, fantastic variety, prices that always are agreeable. Dandy's got you covered when you're in the market for food on the go. Swing in, they've got great breakfast items. I love their French toast. They've got light, tasty maple waffles and all the bacon and eggs and anything you can imagine. If you're hungry for breakfast or anything else on the go, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy and do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza, just not enough for a part. The 1010 Weekly Pick'em Contest is brought to you by MyBookie.
You pick 'em.
At 1010XL.com.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410. It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
He's not Pistol Pete, he's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costs and repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers, and if you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent. So my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh No's
with Jaguars.com's John Oehser.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark, Johnny O here with you on this Wednesday edition of Jaguars Today. A couple of defensive little notes going on from Doug Peterson this morning, John, as he announced that the Jags announced that they have opened the 21-day practice window for Tyson Campbell. It sounds like Peterson said this week probably not going to happen, maybe week 7, so he is making the trip to London, it sounds like, but maybe will be available for the back half of that against New England. Also, he was asked about Tashawn Gibson, and the team has gotten permission from the league to bring him with them to London, right? So he's not going to be available this week as he finishes up the 6-game suspension here to start the season, but could be available at least to play in week 7 against New England. Where do you think the answers are going to come from some of the things that are hurting the Jags in the secondary?
Well, some of it is the guys who are playing just have to play better. I mean, Tashawn, I don't know that he comes right in and fixes all the issues at safety. I think both players are struggling. Andrew Wingard getting back would help, but I'm not sure that he's a plug-and-play substitute for automatically making, all pass coverage better back there. Tyson will help, but, at some point, Cisco and Antonio Johnson need to up their game a little bit and play better. Monteric looked like he gave up one, but overall playing well. So I think for the most part, they haven't played poorly on every play. They've had a few games where they've played very well as a group. You have to stop having the mental errors at key times. There's no reason they can't do that. When you talk to the players, they say it's fixable, but at some point it's got to get fixed. I mean, it's when you talk about execution being the issue and a missed assignment, then it's sort of hard to say exactly why they have to get better here. Players have to stop doing that, and they have to play the way they're capable of, and so far that group hasn't.
It's all of our favorite call, isn't it, Demps? It's all fixable.
Well, yeah, it's.
I've been hearing that since the Jags have been, at least in the post-Tom Coughlin era. But, John, obviously pass rush can help that secondary.
No doubt.
And they got a good performance out of Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. And Josh Allen's been pretty consistent with the pressure. Trayvon had a huge game this week. But they're not getting the complimentary push from the interior of the defensive line. Are there any answers there in terms of, different ways they can utilize their personnel, or do those guys just need to play better? Because I think that's an area of the team we expected to have more of an impact at this point.
Yeah, I thought it would. You can run games, you run stunts. That hasn't been something that they seem to have done a lot of yet. Devon Hamilton, I think, has played okay against the run. Hasn't been dominant in passing situations, not really his game anyway. But yeah, if there's been an area up front that has been not as impactful as they like, they've been good against the run, but against the pass, haven't made the impact they like. Beyond that group playing better, I think it's going to come down to the ends and the edge rushers needing to get home in big situations. I don't know that it's going to be a dominant defense. I didn't think coming in it was going to be a dominant defense, but it can be good enough to complement the offense if it's playing this well, if they get home on big downs and if the secondary gets a little better.
At what point does everyone in the building have a conversation about Eric Armstead, you're a defensive tackle? For this football team right now,
yeah,
that's where we need you to be, because that's where we feel like you can have a real impact on what we're doing in the pass rush. They're doing an okay job against the run with everything that they got going on, but the interior pass rush, they're getting basically nothing from it. I thought it was weird when they talked about Eric Armstead being a defensive end. I was like, I know he can play out there, but he seems to be the more effective player playing inside. At what point do they just say, we know we talked about this when you got here, it's not working. We need you in here. This is where you can help us the most.
Yeah, I haven't gone back and counted. He's rushed inside some. It feels like. I haven't gone back and watched every game. So I don't know when that's on the table, and I don't know exactly if they think that's the answer or not. It is something I want to go back and look this week and see just how much he's played inside.
Yeah. I mean, they need to. I'm certain that's something they're looking at inside the building with these kind of things. But it struck me as odd when they talked about it when he got here. He's going to play what? Defensive end.
Yeah.
I know they need depth at defensive end, and Trent Baalke the whole time was like, we got this depth at defensive end. It's like, I thought Armstead was an interior player.
Yeah. It's I don't quite have a great answer on that one.
Right. Like, it's an odd situation for a team that we're talking about. That's one of the big issues. They need to figure out third and fourth and short on offense, figure out somebody to impact from the interior of that defensive line. Because, look, we had a couple of weeks there where it's like, where did Walker go? After that week one game, we were all kind of, where did Walker go? It felt like Josh Hines-Allen was on that island by himself again.
Right.
For 2 or 3 weeks where it's, if they're going to get any kind of pressure, it's because Josh made a play, and then he runs a guy to nobody.
Yeah, I thought Trayvon got some better pressure against Houston than people thought, but overall,
he was great this week. That's for sure.
They need something coming from the interior, and it'll be interesting to see if they can get that from Armstead.
Hopefully, certainly, I would think that he could.
Yeah.
If they needed him to, that's what he's been really good at to this point in his career. We'll see if they can get back to that a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the news from around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston has placed wide receiver Nico Collins on IR, so he'll miss the next 4 weeks. New England is making the switch to their rookie quarterback Drake May, who will get the first start of his career on Sunday against Houston. New Orleans quarterback Derek Carr expected to miss the next couple of weeks with an oblique injury that he suffered on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs. Kansas City wide receiver Rashee Rice will miss the remainder of the season, but he did have successful surgery on Tuesday to repair the LCL in his knee, with no repair needed for the ACL, the MCL, or the meniscus over there. So as good as the news could be from that regard for Rashee Rice. The Las Vegas Raiders will be placing defensive tackle Christian Wilkins on IR following surgery for a Jones fracture. No timetable for his return was announced, but he will miss at least obviously the next 4 weeks. Cincinnati has placed defensive back Dax Hill on IR with a knee injury that he suffered on Sunday. Minnesota head coach Kevin O'Connell said on Tuesday that running back Aaron Jones is week to week with a hip injury. The Vikings have their bye this week, and Philadelphia has cut linebacker Devin White. You know, it wasn't that long ago, Demps, that he was considered among the better interior linebackers in the league. A lot of eyebrows went up with the situation up there in Philadelphia when they signed him. Just how much of an impact could he potentially have? And we get 5 weeks into it, he doesn't play at all.
Hard game
for the Eagles, and now he's cut.
He was the second-team All-Pro. I mean, you know, Pro Bowler, second-team All-Pro. I don't understand how a guy – he's not old. He didn't lose it, I don't think, physically, but it's kind of mysterious how a guy like that, you know, obviously with multiple organizations now has fallen out of favor to where he can't even be on the roster, never mind being a starter or a Pro Bowl level player again.
It's crazy.
It goes fast.
It certainly does, but Devin White released by the Philadelphia Eagles. Our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today asking you, what will the Jaguars' record be when they return from London? Your options in the poll, 3-4. 2-5, they beat the Bears. 2-5, they beat the Patriots, or 1-6 when they come back home here in a couple of weeks. We'll respond to that as we put a bow on this Wednesday edition of Jaguars Today. Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Johnny O, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Just because the storm is messing up your routine doesn't mean it needs to mess up your entire life, right? You want a good routine to lose weight? Awaken 180's got your back. You're going to eat to lose weight, but you're going to do it in a way that's going to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. Awaken 180 has basically perfected their process over the years with over 21,000 customers, 98+% satisfaction rating among them. You can count me right at the top of the list. Awaken 180 told me I'd lose weight about 4 to 5 pounds a week. They checked every box that they promised. I lost it fast, but most importantly for me, over the last year, I've been able to keep that weight loss intact. And you get free coaching and support for life from Awaken 180. Learn how to lose weight, but once you get there, learn how to maintain that weight loss. So whether it's 10, 20, 50, or 100 pounds you need to lose, give them a call at 844-346-1800. Become the next Awaken 180 success story. Schedule a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
Guys, don't suffer through this season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations with advanced urological care to improve your health and vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker. Because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound? And a signing bonus. Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
What's the weekend in sports look like? I'm Dan Hicken, and I'll give you my take on the Weekend with Dan. Find it on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan, brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Family owned and managed for 20 years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming golfing atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Prosser here. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, so get started. Even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well, so call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS consumeraccess.org.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguar head coach Doug Peterson with the first win of the season. Now on the record sees the defensive scheme of Ryan Nielsen is helping defensive lineman Trayvon Walker.
Well, it allows him to put his hand in the ground, and it's an attack style, an aggressive style of front.
Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence wasn't motivated by the outside noise because he says he doesn't listen to it.
Hunkering down and not looking or listening to anything, honestly, and I'm going to continue to do that even when you have a good game.
Former Jag and NFL Network reporter Bucky Brooks sees Trevor Lawrence's performance against the Colts as an indicator he has grown in the position.
Because what Trevor has always been is super confident, but what he hasn't been is super patient.
At your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguar update, I'm Sam Nelson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
We're looking for answers for the 1-4 Jacksonville Jaguars as we continue to talk through some of the things that went really well, obviously, on Sunday. That's why you win a game. finally, if you're the Jags against the Colts, and also some of the things that didn't go so well and continue to be issues for the team, as we were just talking about, with the short yardage is still up there. The pass rush on the interior for this football team is still up there. Those were issues that we had circled the entire offseason for the football team, and those questions they remain to this point unanswered for how effective the answers are going to be for the team going through the rest of the slate here in 2024. But they found enough answers on Sunday to win a game, and they had 3 other opportunities before that this year where they needed one more answer to one more question at some point in the game and could have won all 3 of those, but at least one of them. And instead, they came up short. Sunday, they found one when they needed it for the first time in 2024.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing to remember. I don't think they're going to be a perfect team. I would think that pass rush from the interior will be a flaw, and the short yardage could be an issue all year. But if you're playing well enough to work around that, you can win games. And I think they found a formula the other day that you can win with as you get more consistent. I don't know they're going to be a great short yardage team this year, but they can be a little better, and then you can alleviate that with being able to throw in those situations and be able to be effective. So we'll see how they work around it. That's where good teams excel, to cover up deficiencies.
Yeah. Our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today, asking what will the Jaguars record be when they return from London? 3-4, 2-5, they beat the Bears. 2-5, they beat the Patriots, or 1-6. We'll hand it over to Mike Dempsey with the 10-10 take.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
I already voted in this one, Tony, and I'm not going to go right into pessimism mode here. Like, I think,
but
you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not. There's no but. There's no caveat here. Like, over 90% of the people, based on the poll results, we got over 319 or 300 votes, 319 right now. Over 90% think they're going to beat the Patriots, just based on the way the results went. And I would agree with that. I think that New England's one of the handful of the worst teams in the league. You can say Jags are too, based on their record, and that's fair. But I think that talent-wise, they're a better squad. So it comes down to this week's game against Chicago. And if they go about it with the right game plan, Chicago has a good defense, but they're a lot more susceptible to the run than they are the pass. They're number 6 against the pass. You got to slow down Montez Sweat. I think the way to do that is to run it right at him. Jaquan Brisker, their strong safety in the concussion protocol, didn't make the initial trip to London. So will he be able to get over there late in the week if he clears the protocol? I don't know. But I think this has got to be a Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby game that you lean on those guys, and maybe a little mix of Dearness Johnson in there as well. I think that's the way you slow down their pass rush. Their best player on defense is Jalen Johnson, and he's going to be more effective in coverage than he is in run support. So I think, you want to try to make this a little bit of a shortened game and attack the part of the defense. They're giving up 120 yards on the ground compared to the Jags giving up 105, and they're just middle of the pack in that category. So I do think the Jags can go in there, and I'm picking them to beat the Bears. Do I feel 100% confident in it? No. It won't be the highest rated pick that I have on Friday, Tone. Yeah. But, I'm choosing to look at the possibility of what might be, and I think they're certainly capable of beating the Bears in this game. They played well in London, and if you do beat Chicago, the expectation is that you'll get the sweep over there. You got to still play the game, but if they can come back at 3-4, even though the schedule gets more daunting on paper, you'll have breathed life back into the team and into the fan base.
No doubt. In light of the conversations we've had this morning already, John, about the way they've handled in-game situations the last 2 weeks. In Houston, where they felt like they needed to throw to try to end the game, they just didn't come through. This week, they had 2 series where they felt like they needed to throw at the end of the game. In light of that, do you think the Jags are comfortable calling the kind of game that Dempsey's talking about here, where it does appear that Chicago would be more weak against the run than they would be against the pass? Do you think the Jags as a team offensively are comfortable getting into a type of game like that where their advantages may be in running the football this week?
Yeah, you still have to throw. the Bears are a Tampa 2 based philosophy. They're a little more aggressive than, say, Gus is on defense with the Colts. So I think you approach it with some similarities. I don't think you necessarily think you're going to get a whole lot of deep shots, but you try to hit them when they're there like they did the other day. So, yeah, they're comfortable with it. You have to be – it's much like on Sunday where the quarterback has to be very, very patient, has to realize that just because you haven't gotten a deep shot this quarter doesn't mean that there's not going to be one there on 2nd and 8 midway through the second quarter. But, yeah, I felt like they played that game to a degree. This weekend I would expect them to mix in a little more run. But, again, with this offense, I think this offense has to throw because I'm not sure that they can run if the other team thinks they're going to run. I think it's more they have to have the pass as an option. The other team has to be thinking pass a little bit, and then I think they can get the opportunities to run against the fronts that they like.
It's been about a month since we've been able to see it on the field, but what do you think the impact would be for the offense with Evan Ingram coming back? It sounds like this is the week where it's finally going to happen for him, but what's the impact with him coming back on the field for them?
Well, I think it gives you, I think twice a quarter, it gives you a reliable option that Trevor trusts. And when I say twice a quarter, I mean, it's not ideal for this offense when Evan Ingram is the number one guy. He was the number one guy late last season and got to 116 catches. Mm-hmm. And how did you feel about the offense overall late last season? You felt like it was not explosive because that's not what I think he can be explosive guy occasionally, but I think if he catches 116 passes, you're not doing what you want to do offensively. I think ideally for him, he's catching 70 or 80, not for him, but for the offense. I'm sure he'd love to catch 200. But so I think he gives you that trust of you probably, in my mind, he gets you 3 more third down conversions a game, 2 more third down conversions a game than you may have had before. That's a lot when you consider how important third down is if it keeps a drive going. I think that's what he gives you. He makes you more reliable offensively and keeps you on the field once a half more. And that's big.
We talked about this on Monday that Jimmy Smith, with all the legends for the Jags being here this weekend, with Tom Coughlin going into the Pride, and the whole thing was awesome. Those jackets, nice. I don't know why it took this long to get to them, but thank goodness they did. They are incredible, those teal jackets for the guys that were up there. And that it was those 4 guys standing up there felt apropos of kind of Jaguars history. You know, to see the 4 guys that have the real shots to be Hall of Famers. Yeah. Right? As members of the Jags be standing up there and get that kind of honor at that time. But
if you were around in the 90s and saw that, I don't know how you didn't get chills.
No doubt. And Jimmy, at least, is willing, and he's never been shy about doing this kind of thing when he sees it in guys. But Jimmy's already willing to say Brian Thomas Jr. can be better than me. Right? Like, Jimmy's already to go out on that limb. Now, he's like I said, he's always been bold when pulling for his guys, when they're wearing this uniform. He's always been bold with that. But the early returns through the first 5 weeks of Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, it is crazy. Yeah. The production they're already getting out of this young man. Turned 22 yesterday. He's already the number 1, right, in this game. We were like, maybe year 2 he can develop into something like that. It took him 2 weeks to develop into that for this Jaguars offense, and the dividends that could potentially pay not only against the Bears, but for the next, who knows how long, for Brian Thomas Jr. could be massive.
Yeah, I wasn't here when Mojo came through, so I don't have the real frame of reference for sort of his impact and how you felt early in his rookie year when he was making plays. I don't know how reliable it felt. I'm assuming very reliable. But I was here for Fred, and it reminds me of Fred's rookie year when he was out the first couple of games or didn't play much, but then he came in for James Stewart, and all of a sudden he makes a huge play first where you're like, whoa. And then 2 or 3, every couple of weeks, Fred was making a big-time play where you thought to yourself, I don't see that very often. Like, as a rookie, that's rare. And Brian Thomas Jr., I want to say in every game, maybe except Buffalo when nobody did anything, he's done special once a game. a lot of guys can go an entire season and do it once if they do it at all. So it's striking. The bar, I mean, the ceiling is very, very high.
Yeah, and as we're all pleasantly noticing, Christian Kirk is back in the offense too. Yeah. You know, he was the invisible man for the first couple weeks, but he's been much more involved here the last 3 weeks. And I do think that unlocks a lot of things for what they want to do on that side of the ball. So it's good to get him rolling. We'll see what that looks like when you add Evan Ingram back into it too. That may reduce the role for Gabe Davis, who just hasn't been able to come through, you know, here early on in the season. We'll see ultimately what they want to do with that. Right now, let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Good morning, Taylor.
Good morning.
At least 12 more minutes of morning, technically.
Yeah, a little bit more morning.
Before y'all take over the afternoon, what do you got coming up on Helmets and Heels today?
Yeah, we have obviously a lot of. I've been on vacation. I just got back from Chicago.
I'm glad
last
you made
night.
it back.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a disaster when it comes to my flight, but I made it. So I'm a little bit of recouping, but we are going to rehash maybe some of the games from the weekend a little bit. Obviously, get in depth with some of this Jags Bears. This is always a weird week for me. I'm just happy it only happens every 4 years because it's always like my Bears fan friends and family are giving me crap about the Jags, and my Jags fans, friends, and everyone here gives me crap about the Bears. Mm-hmm. So it's just always kind of a weird week for me. But we'll definitely get into that. A lot of the things that are kind of going on both sides, and everybody keeps asking me, what do I expect from this game? I truly have no idea because both teams have been kind of unpredictable each week, and for different reasons and on different spectrums of kind of what is happening. So we'll get into some of that. We have Becky Burley coming on to talk about some soccer and the USL Championship, some of that stuff going on, but a lot of football, and we'll probably get into some coaches who may get fired next in the NFL. So we'll see that.
Poor Robert Saleh.
I know.
Yeah, this is we're going to test Taylor's allegiances week with the Bears playing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Somebody just tagged me, and they're like, this is Taylor this week, and it's that one, I'm trying to think of the actor, but he just has the NFL hat on, and it's just him with like just a basic NFL. He's like, Taylor this week. I'm like,
yeah. Kind of, sort of, halfway into that. We'll see how that all turns out. We'll be listening.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Taylor. Helmets and Heels coming up next from noon to 2. Here on 1010 XL, that'll do it for us. Johnny O, I know you're going to be traveling at some point, but
yeah,
what
we scheduled to travel tomorrow. We'll say, and no change of plans as of yet. No Huddle Up podcast this week because of the storm. So basically, we're just talking to players on Zoom, trying to figure out what's going on to get out of town, and then we'll sort of rev back up our normal coverage with Jaguars AM and the like, starting in London next week.
All right, we'll catch up with you on the pregame, obviously, on Sunday as well, and then we'll check in with you on the phone. I got the feeling next week or somehow from over there in London.
If it's not on the phone, if it's in person, it'll be unusual.
Then no doubt about it. So that'll do it for us for an On Location. Mike Dempsey.
Hello, goodbye.
For Johnny O, for Dylan Denmark, I'm Tony Smith. Helmets and Heels coming up next here on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Kick off your college football weekend with the Bueller Air and Plumbing College Kickoff.
I'm Matt Hayes, and I'll help you slide into a college football Saturday with pregame news and notes.